Calvin, because then that's about
Ooh.
like monarchic, like
Yeah.
king, and is it ever okay to overthrow a king?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, our country obviously has
Sure.
particular feelings about.
Why not?
But boy, this was a huge issue
Right.
in the English and European world.
Yeah, so let's go back in time with me. It's like Mr. Peabody with the Wayback Machine. Come on, kids. Little Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And we'll have like a video, you know, edit thing will lengthen. Okay.
Okay. But so we're in about 1647. It is.
Feels like 1648. Just kidding.
It's 47. Queen Mary of Scots has just come to the throne. Mary Tudor, Mary the First, and we've had Henry VIII, who has started Anglicanism, or Henry.
Give me another waif. He's Scottish, apparently.
No, he's not.
I made him Scottish.
Other people will be Scottish.
Get in my belly.
Okay, so we've had, and he has died, and we have Edward VI, which is probably the most Protestant king of the Tudors and Stuarts. Sorry, using royal families. But he creates kind of a radical Protestantism, at least from the throne.
Lots of tie-dye, lots of Allman Brothers.
Lots of smashing of idols and art. And so his older sister Mary, who is Catherine of Aragon's daughter, is kind of in hiding. I guess she's really not Queen Mary of Scots, that's someone else. But she's Mary Tudor the First.
I'm following.
Okay, get on the train. I wish I had a chart, but I don't.
Wait, I'll be the family again. His eyeball is...
Sorry. Okay, so Mary is Catholic. England is a Protestant country, but when she comes to power, she makes it Catholic again. Scotland is under her rule. In Scotland, they really like Protestantism. They're Presbyterian up there.
That's where their Presbyterianism comes from.
Yeah.
Scotland.
Yeah. And so when Mary comes to power, she pretty much just executes or exiles all Protestants. This is Bloody Mary. Yeah. So you get John Knox, who is in Scotland, fleeing to Geneva, where he encounters Calvin. And they have quite the disagreement about whether or not to overthrow, or whether or not you have to obey, when do you obey, what's that line of obedience for royal power. Where, considering the situation that John Knox is coming out of, where he believes that Mary is physically killing the church.
Yeah.
Like, acting
and
against.
God could not have possibly set her up.
Yeah, she is a tool of the devil.
She is the beast.
Yes.
She's, in Revelation, they talk about 666 or 668, there's a variant,
Yeah.
which both come out to Nero.
Right.
Who's the beast that must be resisted.
Right.
But then Calvin.
But Calvin
Long beard.
is
All
not,
authority.
All authority
comes from God.
Comes from God. So
No
you be Calvin. Totally
okay.
Calvin's side. I've done enough for John.
Bring me some more wine, as we discuss. This is my French. Yeah. Calvin says you can't rebel. All authority comes from God, and you may not like her, but you got to deal with her.
Yeah, and Calvin was very good about respecting authority. When the King of France kicked all the Huguenots out, or Huguenot if you want to be Frenchy, out of France, he left.
I like cheese with my Huguenot. Yeah, he left.
He left.
He respected.
He respected it, and he left.
Yeah.
And then he was in Geneva for a while, and then when the council kicked him out, he left. He never starts a rebellion. And he does not go back to Geneva until a formal letter is written inviting him back.
And then our own country to go up to today, I mean, between this European sense where God establishes authorities, whether they're good or not, and then this Scottish sense of no, that's not maybe quite
the
right.
wily Scots.
Yeah, the American Revolution is founded in part on something called Scottish common sense philosophy.
Yeah, it is.
And, this belief that a ruler is elected by the people and has a duty to the people to respect these freedoms. I mean, all the things that we take for granted as Americans.
Whole social contract stuff.
Yeah, this is radical. Radically opposed to how most people read the Bible at the time. Because everybody could point to Titus or Romans 13, and they all said, God appoints these rulers, and these Presbyterians, these Scots, and the Americans then are all really running against the grain. But they're, they're not being anti-biblical as much as they're reading the Bible differently.
Right.
And the world had changed, their eyes had changed, and Scripture was part of that. So it's a very exciting time.
It is.
To see two biblical interpretations
button heads
clash. Yeah.
Yeah, and
today, I mean, could you even find someone to argue that all authority comes from God, every ruler is from God? It's hard to find folks who would even argue that today. To say like a people doesn't have the right to speak against.
Well, interesting enough, I took an ethics class on the ethics of war.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about this, about as citizens of a country. Well, one, are you a citizen of a country or are you a citizen of heaven?
Yeah, no, these are huge. Yeah.
Huge issues. And what are your responsibilities as a citizen? Can you overthrow the government? And how it came out in that class is a lot of people were like, you can critique the government, but you cannot overthrow it. No, God put this government even if it's...
Which is fascinating, because our entire country's founded on
overthrowing government.
A monarch.
I know.
But that was then the great fear, is that once you start that, watch
it's a
out.
slippery slope.
So, and the most significant moment in our own history is George Washington stepping down and as president and not becoming king. That may have been the...
It's a beautiful speech.
His farewell, yeah. And that may have been the most... we're here probably because of that moment.
Right, and that's the reason we have a 2-term term limit.
Yeah.
Even though that didn't get enacted for 200 more years.
Well, and I think it makes us easier then to be both citizens of a country and members of a church, where if we don't like a ruler, then we can vote. We have means, and we don't have to just rebel.
Right, especially when the ruler's not trying to kill you, which was what was happening in England.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it lessens our anxiety.
But we certainly have issues today about church and state and the relationship therein. No doubt about that. But we could have a long conversation about that. But again, engaged with these texts, this is where all of these conversations start.
Yes.
And people have been on either side and different sides for hundreds of years. This is one of those long conversations.
It's a good conversation.
Yeah, and we're just coming in at the last little 2 minutes of. And
I think we're actually coming in at halfway because we don't know what the conversation is going to go after us.
That's true. That's a good thought. So talk amongst yourselves, and I'm sure we'll hear about it. All right. Next, we'll be coming back with Philemon. Great letter.